¿Cómo estamos? How are we doing, everybody? Welcome to the next episode of La Llave, The Key, with Michael Ace. I want to introduce to you my next guest, one of the most prolific artists, percussionists, drummers, producers, singers, arrangers in the music business. I don't want to say Latin because he's done so much music. I'm proud to announce my next guest, Mr. Orestes Vilató. Welcome.
Thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
¿Cómo estamos?
Estamos bien.
Finally, you made it.
Finally, I made it after a very simplistic day.
Yeah, straight from the airport, straight to the interview, huh?
Right.
The life of a rock and roll artist. Well, thank you for coming, and just want to talk to you a little bit. And vamos a hablar en español y en inglés. Is okay? Okay. You speak Spanish, right?
I think so. Yo creo.
Okay. So I'm going to go from the beginning. You recorded from Cal Jader with Ray Barretto, Fania All-Stars. You came to Los Angeles to record with me, and now you have, I mean, what, 30, 40, 50 years in the business?
This year is going to be 60 years.
60 years, yeah. I'm sorry, cut a few off. Now, in those 60 years, do you think the music has changed?
It changes. Different technology, different arrangements, different approaches.
Right.
But the root of the music, I think we all have to admit that we have to go back to
the roots,
to the beginning.
The beginning.
So otherwise we lose it.
Yeah.
And then what kind of music will we do?
Is it true that David Bowie called you?
Yeah, how did you know that?
Well, I mean, I did my homework.
Okay.
David Bowie called you, and what happened?
I wasn't ready to go into that big change at the time. And I recommended another friend of mine, and he went with the band for a few years. I wasn't ready at that time. Let's put it that way.
But did he offer contracts, or what is it, just a phone call?
We didn't get to details. He just says, can you work with me on that? And, you know, I saw his appearance on that. And
it was weird, strange.
It was too strange for me at the time.
Too punk.
I didn't understand it.
It was, yeah, he was going in his punk age. He had a real eclectic career, to say the least, just like you. I mean, you recorded with Santana also.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, out of the groups that you were happiest, and when I mean not financial, because not everything's money, who are you like? Who'd you like to go play with? Who was fun to play with?
Well,
what band?
Every one of those groups, either the band leader is gone, or they don't play the way they used to play before.
Right.
But at the time, I was very happy playing with Ray Barretto.
Ray.
Actually, it was a great duo or trio. It was a great percussion session.
Yeah, yes.
And I was not a beginner, but it was in my first years.
Gotcha.
So he opened the doors for me to experiment and to do a lot of stuff with me. Also, Barretto had the dance music, but he also had the concert music and the poems at the time that in those days weren't called rap on that, but it was poetry.
Yeah.
So he had a lot.
Like sonero.
he had a lot in his mind. Also, he was a jazz musician.
That's right.
So all those points were together in that, and we were listening to Coltrane in the afternoon and listening to Arsenio and Benny Moré 2 hours later. So everything was together.
Such a school that...
very, very well, beautiful school.
Yeah, and do you think that that's the school that you come from? Is that the training that you got, or is it even older? Does it go back further?
Well, it goes back further because of the charanga thing. I started with trios, acoustic trios, you know, like trios Los Panchos and that, Mexican trios, and or in that time New York trios that were mostly from Puerto Rico, and they used to play like 2 guitars and maracas, or 2 guitars and percussion, or something like that. And that was the beginning, you know. Even the Puerto Rican country music, you know, Jíbaro music. All those guys were always in the studio, so it was a way of making a living. And then I started with conjuntos and dance groups. All that was before Barreto.
Yeah, those were the hot times in salsa.
Yeah. My roots also were the charanga. The charanga, I call myself a charanguero because the charanga, as you know, is a Cuban band that comes from the French chamber music word, and it's comes also from the classical music.
Absolutely.
Combination of the violins and the flute.
It's an Afro-European sound.
Exactly. Then we put the timbales and the güiro, and then we added the conga, and that's where I come from, that root. And I was able to use some of that in what they call the turnaround that later became salsa. So some of that was put into later music.
Now, do you think, as far as recording music and collaborations, who are some of the best collaborations that you think quickly?
Wow, it's just hard to say.
Did you like playing with Cal Jader?
That was a thing about Ray Barreto saying, look, tomorrow we have a recording. I said, with who? He says, oh, with Cal Jader. I didn't even know him. We went there, we didn't rehearse or nothing, and we just did an album. So I didn't have the time to actually meet the person.
Gotcha.
Well, but I knew the style because the style had been from actually George Shearing. That Carl used to be the drummer with George Shearing. And then one of his idols on vibes was Tiro Puente.
Gotcha.
Which I didn't know this until years later. Yeah. So Carl did his band with what we call the West Coast sound, which was the vibes and that. But that came from that type of sextet or quintet with George Shearing with the electric guitar and the vibes.
Right. Well, you used to come to Los Angeles when you were with Fania to play and record out here, right? At those times?
Not with Fania, but with Santana, yes.
Okay.
No, we didn't record here with Fania.
So there was a famous club here called Virginia's nightclub.
I went to the Virginia to play with Ray Barreto.
So you came with Ray Barreto to Virginia's because my father, Mike Rojas, used to play there all the time, and he would remember the band and sit in with you guys and everything. But that was a spot that you used to come to with just Ray?
That I remember, yes. And we did other things around the, LA
Salsa Festival and all that stuff.
Something like that, and San Diego and all that, the kind of the California thing. Now,
there's a rivalry between percussionists within the Santana band. Is this true? That Santana always put you guys to battle each other?
Not that I know. Actually, when I was there, that's the only time I could talk about it.
Right.
I don't know what's happening now. We were very together. It was Armando Peraza a veteran in the instrument, and many years. Actually, he was a original conga player with George Shearing.
Right.
And wrote many tunes for George Shearing.
Right.
And then he played with Carl Jader for a while. And then it was a young guy at the time, Raul Rico,
right,
that became part of the sound of the percussion of Santana. So we were very, very together and very respectful to each other too.
Right. Well, one of the clips that I'm bringing up to mind is a clip that I saw where the original percussionist, Chapito, and yourself were battling against each other. Now, did you guys get along? Did you? I know he has his own.
Chapito doesn't get along with anybody. He hates himself. So that was the thing. One of the last thing we did with Carlos, and it was putting the old band and the old guys together with the new band. And he took it upon himself to try to direct the band.
Who? Carlos?
No, Chapito.
Oh, Chapito.
So me as a New Yorker just kept on playing, you know. Okay. I wasn't going to be directed by him.
Gotcha.
So we just got, it wasn't a fight or nothing like that.
Yeah, just...
If he wanted to be that's on his part. Gotcha. But I just was doing my job.
So it was just a battle of the egos.
I hate the word, let's put it away, I don't like the word battle, because they always said, even after we did the Batalla de los Palos, the Battle of the Sticks, or,
right.
And it shouldn't be a ring like two boxers, one against each other. Everybody has something to give, and that's one of the reasons I like the American way, band and drummers, because there's thousands of great American drummers, trap drummers,
right.
And you don't say, oh, this guy is better than the other guy. Well, this guy has one thing, the other guy has another thing,
right,
that this guy doesn't have, this and that. And I always put this guy as an example, just for fun. They say, well, you know, one of the simpler players is one of the most known and the richest in the world, Ringo Starr. Mm. Played time, knew what he was doing, didn't have to battle with anybody.
Simple.
But he had a sound with the Beatles.
Yes, yes, great example, great example. My father used to say that, just stay in claves, just be on time. You don't have to go.
Believe me, it's more difficult to play slow than to play fast.
That's true. It is very true. That is very true. Now, what are you doing right now? What are your current projects, quickly?
Well, I'm in the School of Music. I'm at Bradley School of Music in Lafayette. I've been there for about 9 years. So I have students there, and they have a teacher's band,
right,
that we do gatherings for the different locations, and that we do benefits like for children's hospitals,
right,
and a lot of stuff for
that's
the people.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
that's nice.
We care a lot about the youth, and to help the youth with right now they're collecting food for students that have nothing to eat.
Interesting. Very
so
nice.
I do that full time, and I work with John Santos for many years. If you talk to John, he's from the Bay Area, and he would say that I have been with his band on and off longer than any other band.
Wow.
So yeah.
Interesting.
And I do short trips. Go to Puerto Rico, go to New York, come here, record here. And this and that, go to Colombia.
Nice, very nice.
So I do stuff like that, and I pick my work according to my convenience, how comfortable it is for me.
Yeah, well, that's why you're here, because you feel comfortable.
I'm not going to be in a ring now fighting the kids. Let them do that for a while.
No, let's just record some good music, and we'll show them with that. I wanted to tell you, I brought Larry Harlow here to record with me. We recorded about 4 or 5 songs together, and I just was hearing some music last night. You recorded the song Anacaona with Larry Harlow and Cheo Feliciano, and you were on percussion, correct?
Actually, the first recorder of that, actually, you put me in a spot there. I don't remember if we did the first recording with Cheo, and then we did it with Fania.
I got you.
I think that was the way it was.
Got you.
But the first, I think it was when Cheo got out of Puerto Rico and came back to New York, and we did Anacaona in the studio.
Right.
And then we did it with Fania.
Nice.
And both was Larry Harlow, though.
With Larry Harlow.
Right, right.
Very nice. And, that was, he would tell me, Michael, I was a Jewish kid, and you could imagine the politics against me and the race naming and the name calling. So I understand the politics and that, me being a rapper in a dominant field. So, but you have to battle through if you love it.
We all
keep
had
on
a
going.
problem in New York because I was the minority.
Cuban.
You got it. Everybody was Puerto Rican, and
Right.
I was one of the few Cubans that had lived out of this instrument
Right.
the longest.
And that was its own battle, being a Cuban.
Just being in the middle of all that.
Yeah.
No, you're not one of my
us.
team. You're not one of my team. So I had to battle it by myself.
So you experienced that?
Yeah.
My father used to say the same thing. It's very painful to be a musician at some point. Everybody sees the stage and the lights and the glory, but they don't know what goes on behind. But well, you're here in Los Angeles, and we're recording some music. We're going to be recording tomorrow. System's getting real hard. Check it out.
There's good movement in there too. In the snare, so you can feel it.
Making money by the truckloads, baby. Can't believe they're taking away the housing. Government allows the rent to be in houses. People struggling every day to make a dollar, baby. Making money by the truckloads, baby. Can't believe they're taking away the housing. Government allows the rent to be in thousands. People struggling every day to make a dollar, baby. En este mundo tan profundo no le creo a nadie. Amores que se van deprisa no valen nada. Prefiero la muerte que me faltan el respeto. Yo vengo de la escuela vieja, soy lavero. Tú no tienes nada de la vida dura.
Do one, haz una, solo tú, y if you don't get it, ahí te digo. So the first roll is every time I rap, like right before I rap, there should be like a little.
Okay, I want to start, when I start the conga, I'm going to do an abanico, a roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to catch that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we take it from there.
Yeah, honestly, accenting transitions, and if you do too much, no big deal. We can always take away.
Okay.
Here, try it. Got you.
Making money by the truckloads, baby. Can't believe they're taking away the housing. Government allows the rent to be in thousands. People struggling every day to make a dollar, baby. Making money by the truckloads, baby. Can't believe they're taking away the housing. Government allows the rent to be in thousands. People struggling every day to make a dollar, baby. En este mundo tan profundo no le creo a nadie. Amores que se van deprisa no valen nada. Prefiero la muerte. Consejo de mi corazón, rapapap, razón, rapapap.
So anyway, long story short, we got stuff there.
Okay.
We got it.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I want to do from here is make the next track.
No en esta.
No, Nesta.
No, esta
So
todavía.
that's done.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
Beautiful.
can go get the second one. Yeah. Totally.
Beautiful. Wow. See, you finally did it.
You just have to EQ the whole thing and rearrange the.
Yeah, yeah.
the
We're just
parts.
gonna mix it, get
How
more
the
time.
best
and
that it
everything.
makes with your voice and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Yes, all the political fighting.
Right.
for Puerto Rico. We did this song for Puerto Rico. Aquí Orestes Vilató, Michael Ace. Here with my boy Rojas Tim and my boy Mr. David Rapka on the direction. What is your next project after you go record with me?
Well, I have a couple of trips. I usually go to New York once a year and do a lot of stuff there for the community.
That's nice.
We do nursing homes in New York. And we do schools.
Yes.
And then we do shows like Lehman College or other big stage shows. But I've been doing that for a few years already. And then I'm coming back to LA
Right.
to do that thing with Norca, with Regalado
The foundation.
Foundation, yeah.
Yes. Excellent foundation. I'm the one who brought Larry Harlow on, I think, her second anniversary. I'm very happy that she's bringing you. It's an excellent event.
And I have something in standby, but with all the politics, it's in standby for Puerto Rico in October.
Right.
But we have to see what happens first.
Yeah, it's very volatile right now.
Yeah,
Está la cosa muy difícil ahorita ya. Do you think that, I'm going to go off topic right now, go back a little bit old school. Do you think that the Fania All-Stars was a record company that will go down in history for good, bad, evil?
Well, it had gone down in history. I mean, if you go to Colombia or you go to, they still have the T-shirts, and Fania is the maximum for them.
Yes.
The bad part is that Fania is over.
It's over.
It's over, and it was bought by a company right here in LA.
I think CBS bought them out.
Concord.
Yeah.
It used to be in Concord Records.
Yeah, yeah.
And now they're here in Beverly Hills, actually. So I don't really know who owns it, but I know it's a very big company. They have a lot of productions from different distributors from different companies in there.
Now, do you think out of all the groups that you performed with, who were you treated the best by? As far as you get paid good, you get your own room, your own hotel. Who was the best caregiver?
The Latin business has its limitation.
Yes.
And in New York, they call it like the cuchifrito business or whatever.
Yes.
I have to say that Carl Santana was one of the best. For the first 5-6 years was okay. Then, change of life and this and that. Things happen, people change a little bit, this and that. But I mean, that opened other worlds that, even though I had traveled with Barreto. We actually went to Africa in 1968. Barreto was one of the few bands that was actually touring in New York.
In New York.
Way before all this wave, but now that everybody's going to Colombia, everybody's going to. Well, back in those days, we were traveling.
Right.
But I mean, Europe and all that, I have to say Santana, because I went all over.
So, did Santana give you a contract?
No.
No contract.
No.
So you just decided I'm gonna leave.
The only contract there was like if you recorded an album, you were supposed to be, I think at the time, I don't remember well, maybe 6 months with the publicity of that album.
Right.
And depends what deal do you take. They had two different deals. Either you take points on the sales, or you take money in your hand.
Gotcha.
So I did one way and other ways.
Which one was better?
Well, money in the hand is always better.
Money in the hand instead of waiting for album sales in the future. Gotcha. Now, I understand that you have your own line of timbales. Is that still going on?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's a very humble project. A lot of people look at it and it says, well, it looks like maybe a toy or something, because they're really shallow and they're made of stainless aluminum or something. So they're very light. The reason of that is because
they travel.
because of local gigs and that, which is when you actually need to carry stuff.
Right.
Everything now is super heavy duty. You can't carry the stands. They weigh a ton.
Right.
So I said, let me go the other way. So actually, my timbales fit in a snare bag, and I have another set that fits in a backpack.
Nice.
So I went to the compact thing for easier to
access.
to carry.
That's nice.
to
That's
carry.
good.
And I love the sound. I have recorded with them, and I love the sound.
Well, definitely, we need to start pumping those out. That we should give a pair of timbales with the purchase of our next single.
If I had the right to do it, I would.
You should have a garage full of those things.
No, I don't. I have a garage full, but I mean, a lot of other things.
Well,
Not as all these are the ones you have here that Christopher Columbus gave you. You know.
Well, you know what? I'm very proud of those. My father gave me those Humberto Morales timbales. And Francisco Aguabella used to borrow those from my father to go play.
Wow.
And some other guys that, the thing about it is there's a lot of history in those things.
Yeah, yeah.
And every dent has a story. Every dent. So let's try to wind down and basically, let's try to wind down and we're gonna talk a little bit about, quickly, just about family. Any kids, friends, enemies, what do you got?
Well, every one of us has enemies
Yes.
for nothing.
Yes.
So, I can't say, I'm a friend of everybody. I got
So
kids.
they mess with you.
I got kids that are old already, and three daughters,
Okay.
and that's it.
That's
And a
family,
wife.
that's life, and you've seen a lot of things, and in this career, what is the one thing that stands out?
Our trip to Russia,
Trip to Russia.
the first trip before they opened all the thing, it was just amazing when we got there with a whole bunch of people. The Yugi brothers,
Yes,
a whole
Yugi
bunch
brothers,
of people, and we start playing, and they start crying.
Wow.
For the first time, they had seen bands from the U.S. come to Russia.
Orestes Vilató.
So that has to stand.
And what band was that?
That was Santana.
Santana.
Yeah.
So that was before, like, we're talking 85, 86. But what I want to know is that was the most outstanding thing that sticks out of your mind.
Well, there's other outstanding things, you know.
Like the Cheetah performance at the Fania All Stars?
I didn't realize that was going to be that big. We used to play at the Cheetah every week.
And it was no big deal.
No, it wasn't a big deal. We never realized how big that got, even when they did the premiere on Broadway.
Right.
And then we got limousines. Everybody got into a limousines, and we got there with tuxedos and that, and says, you know, we feel like movie stars.
Right, right. All because they filmed it.
All because they filmed it, and it was Masucci's idea of doing something different.
Right.
But we never realized that 40 years later or something, it will still stand.
Wow.
How it stands today as something like it hasn't been done again.
Right.
Like that.
It was actually a movie, a big video. It
Kind
was
of
like a big video.
Like a documentary
a
video.
documentary video.
Yeah.
Well, you're a part of that history, and I'm glad you're here in Los Angeles to record with me, and I'm very proud that you're on this new project with me. Muchas
Well, I'm
gracias.
glad to be here, and I'm glad I met you, and
Yes.
we're going to kick ass
Le
tomorrow.
vamos a meter mucho cuero, como dicen, mucho palo, ¿no?
Seguro.
Ay, chacho. All right, well, thank you very much. Aquí estamos con Orestes Vilató, one of the master percussionists of the world, global international recording star, here with your boy Michael Ace. Muchas gracias. We'll be back. Escucha la llave. Aquí estamos.
Y ahora, a comer.
Let's go to eat.
Money, baby. Check it out. I thank God for another day. Get on my knees and I fucking pray. Hoping to live and see another day. I tell my mama that I'll be okay. Well, I pop a bottle of this yay. It takes a lot to get it tailor-made. Baby mama need to get paid. Government cutting off aid. Knocking them out like the world trade. Be careful with corruption. Vilató, I'm percussion. Here come the Russians. Make no assumptions. We're living in the world of corruption. Well, here's my introduction. Another Michael Ace production. An original, never a reproduction. Let's born ready. Pick it up, girl. Check it out. I'm living in a world of pain. Let's stop playing all these games. Everybody making false claims. Never ever give a cop a name. My life will never be the same. What a cynical, biblical, unequivocal, hypocritical world that we living in today. Yo, what's the world coming to? What's the best revenge success? Life told me there'd be days like this. Every day all I do is reminisce in the studio, but you don't hear me though. Can't believe all the things that I've never seen. It's like a dream and I'm rolling in a limousine. Cause if I die and I never come back,